I actually lied. There isn't a top 10 tonight. Sorry about that. But tonight is some more facts. It's about the 30 crazy weather facts that you won't believe are true. Number 1. The wettest place on Earth is India. Disputed by several places in Colombia, the current official record holder, as recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records, is Mausinram in East Khasi Hills in eastern India. With a long monsoon season and a short dry season, the average annual rainfall here is 467.4 inches, or 1,187 centimeters, which is equal to a 3-story house in height. The neighbouring hamlet of Cherrapunji has also staked its claim for the record. Number 2. The USA has the most tornadoes. According to US Tornadoes, the United States experiences around 75% of the world's known tornadoes. That's an average of 1,253 tornadoes per year. Although tornadoes have been recorded in every US state, you're most likely to see one in Texas. With typically 146.7 tornadoes a year, the state has also experienced some of the worst in recorded history. Number 3. Wind is silent. If you imagine a windy day outside, you're probably thinking of whistling and swooshing sounds that increase with the speed of wind. But in reality, wind is silent until it passes through or comes into contact with an object. It can be either friction, rolling, or rubbing that causes these sounds, but it's always the objects reacting to the wind that produces sounds rather than the wind itself. Next one. There are 760 thunderstorms on Earth every hour. There have been many attempts to calculate the number of thunderstorms that are happening on Earth. However, the data has always been inaccurate due to the complicated nature of gathering it. The number was finally calculated in 2011 thanks to more than 40 weather stations around the world that were equipped with machines able to detect electromagnetic pulses produced by strong lightning bolts. Curiously, the peak time for storms around the world is around noon GMT. Next, raindrops are really fast. Although an estimation, most scientists agree that an average raindrop falls with a speed between 9 and 10 meters per second, which is an equivalent to 22 miles or 35.4 kilometers an hour. These calculations are based on a large raindrop, about 3 to 6 inches and 5 millimeters in diameter, and explains why rain, especially heavy rain, can erode the soil so easily. They don't look like you think. Even though we're used to seeing drawings and images of tear-shaped raindrops, that's not how raindrops appear in real life. With many factors, including gravity, air resistance, and surface tension having an impact on the structure of each individual drop, they actually vary in shape. Smaller droplets are spherical, while larger drops have a more domed shape, almost like the top bun of a burger. And here's why they aren't bigger. When each individual droplet gets heavy enough in the cloud to fall, it accumulates other droplets and bumps into en route to the ground. But despite this, you won't find raindrops the size of basketballs falling from the sky. That's because of a number of factors, including the speed at which it falls. The bigger the raindrop, the faster it falls, and the higher air pressure it has to withstand until eventually the air pressure overcomes the surface tension, splitting the drop into two. Next one. The Mississippi River once froze over its entire length. Setting temperature records that still stand to this day, many American cities experienced the coldest ever temperatures in 1899, when 4 consecutive days of extremely harsh winter conditions swept across North America. Known by many names, including the Great Cold Wave and the Great Arctic Outbreak, February of that year was so cold that the Mississippi River froze over its entire length. A similar event was recorded in the UK during the Great Frost of 1683 to 84, when severe weather meant that the River Thames was completely frozen for 2 months. Next one. The lowest temperature recorded on Earth is minus 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 89.2 degrees Celsius. Wrap up warm for this one. Measured at ground level on July 21st of 1983, the coldest ever temperature was recorded at the Soviet Vostok Station, a Russian research facility in Prince Elizabeth Land in Antarctica. Princess Elizabeth Land in Antarctica. Since then, the record has reportedly been broken by 4 degrees along a ridge between Dome Argus and Dome Fuji in Queen Maud Land in Antarctica. However, it was measured by a satellite and occurred at an elevation of 12,800 feet or 3,900 meters, so it isn't officially recognized. Next one. Yuma in Arizona is the sunniest place on Earth. According to the World Meteorological Organization, the sunniest place on Earth is Yuma in Arizona. Enjoying an average of 4,015 sunshine hours per year, the city has a total of 11 hours of sunlight in winter and up to 13 hours in summer. Rainfall here doesn't exceed 7.8 inches or 20 centimeters per year, but it also means that the temperature exceeds 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit for around 100 days per year, leaving that country feeling like a furnace. Next. Cricket chirps tell temperature. In what is probably one of the more bizarre mathematical equations, temperature is calculated according to the rate of which crickets chirp. Formulated by Amos Dolbear in 1897, the Dolbear's law helps calculate the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit, based on the number of chirps per minute. The calculation is accurate within a degree and is measured by the chirps of a field cricket specifically. Next. Oymyakon is the coldest inhabited area on Earth. Located in northeast Russia, a 2-hour drive from Yakutsk, Oymyakon is the coldest permanently inhabited area in the world. The rural area experiences an average of minus 50 degrees or minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit during winter and is located in an extreme subarctic climate zone, which means that the ground here is permanently frozen, known as permafrost. Oymyakon's weather station has also recorded the coldest temperature in the northern hemisphere, of minus 67.7 degrees Celsius or minus 89.9 degrees Fahrenheit. Next. There's no official record for the hottest ever recorded temperature. It's widely accepted that the hottest ever temperature of 56.7 degrees Celsius or 134.1 degrees Fahrenheit was recorded on July 10th of 1913 in Furnace Creek Ranch in California in the Death Valley Desert, but the record has never been recognized officially. This is due to possible problems with the accuracy of the reading. It's difficult to calculate and record such a measurement as air temperature will change in a shadow, while the ground temperature can exceed air temperature as much as 50 degrees Celsius or 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Next. The first ever weather forecast was published in Britain. Calculated by Admiral Robert Fitzroy, the very first daily forecast was published in the Times on August 1st of 1861. Thanks to the invention of telegraph, he had data on a barometer, wind and temperature readings sent to his office every morning from various ports dotted along Britain's coasts, which then allowed him to predict where storms would hit. It wasn't for another half a century that advances in the understanding of atmospheric physics led to the creation of numerical prediction, the basis of modern-day forecasting. Next one. You can't actually smell rain. Many of us recognize the smell of rain as the earthy, musky scent that fills the air just before a rainstorm, especially in summer. But in reality, rain itself doesn't even have any smell. The scent is so familiar to us, called petrichor, actually comes from the dry surfaces the rain hits. Every raindrop ejects tiny particles known as aerosols when it hits the ground. When these particles consist of a combination of fragment chemical compounds we can smell when they are inhaled. Next. Cooler temperatures helps you think. Although the research is still very theoretical, it's now becoming widely accepted that the colder temperature helps us think better. Similar research also suggests that warmer temperature impairs our ability to use our full cognitive power, making complex decisions a lot harder. In simple terms, our body uses more energy to cool down than it does to warm up, so in summer, most of the glucose, our main energy source, is used to cool down, while in winter there is a lot more leftover glucose for us to use for the brain's mental processes. Let's see how many more we got left. We might have a part 2 for this, so there's only 14 left. Next one. The Atacama Desert is not the Earth's driest place. It is widely believed that the Atacama Desert, especially the Antofagasta region in Chile, is the driest place on Earth. However, it isn't true. The McMurdo dry valleys in Antarctica hasn't seen any rain for almost 2 million years. The lack of precipitation and extremely humidity means that even though they're surrounded by glaciers, the valleys are snow-free. The region is also one of the world's most extreme deserts, with no living organisms found here apart from certain bacteria that live in the rock interior. Next. The foggiest city in the world is in Canada. While southeastern parts of Newfoundland, Canada, are considered the foggiest in the world, it's St. John's, also in Newfoundland, that can lay claim to the title of the foggiest city. It's shrouded in a thick fog for roughly a third of the year, and it's also Canada's windiest and cloudiest city. If you happen to visit as the fog is about to roll in, head to Signal Hill and watch the city be slowly swallowed by a thick curtain. One more, and we'll have to do a part 2. Around 26 feet or 8 meters of snow falls in the snowiest city on Earth. With an average snowfall of 26 feet or 8 meters, Aomori City in northern Japan is the snowiest city on Earth. During winter, it's not unusual to find yourself driving along walls of snow. However, locals have learned to embrace it and have several festivals to celebrate the unique weather conditions. The second-place city, Sapporo, also in Japan, may be famous for its snow festival, but experienced around 10 feet or 3 meters of less snow than Aomori City. Time for part 2.